to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control.
Welcome to the Fray Flak Pack. It's Termex here, and welcome back to another Borderlands 3 build video. And I'm here to present you guys with the long-awaited Doom Flak build. But Term, why have you waited so long just to do another build that every other YouTuber has made? Every other YouTuber has made a Hellwalker Flak build. This is nothing special. Well, that is where I tell you you are completely wrong with this, because this has terror anointments. It has different ways of playing it. You can play this with a stack bot, constant gorillas in the mist, a 3-shot fadeaway. There's a bunch of different ways you can play with this build, and I finally got it in a spot to where I think it's doing the max amount of damage. Now, before we get into this video, guys, I just want to let you guys know I have a Discord server. If you guys want to join that, link will be in the description below. I highly encourage you guys to join my Discord server. It's the best way to contact me about things and ask me for help with anything, so make sure you join that when you can. But what is today's build? What is Doom Flak all about? Well, of course, we do have our Hellwalker here, but we're going a little bit more in depth than just a Hellwalker, because I don't want to just use a Hellwalker, Backburner, Monarch. We're done with that. We're done with that combo. The Maggie got a recent buff, and this thing is a beast. This thing is... wow, this thing, it's crazy. And I got both of these weapons with While Terrified. Gain increased crit damage. The more terror you have, the higher the bonus. Now, the way this works is once you get terror, you're going to get 50% bonus crit damage. You get a little bit more terror. It goes up to 75% more crit damage. And then it finally maxes out at 100% more crit damage when you're max terrified. Now, I've done some testing, and you would think, why don't you just use ASE 50 or ASE 100? My bad. But ASE 100, it's 100% more damage, but it's not 100% more crit damage. Now, with the way the damage formula works, if you have more damage, you're going to do more crit indirectly, quite obviously. But when we have a bunch of critical hit damage, we're actually going to be doing more damage than just your day-to-day ASEs. Now, for our shield, we are using the one-shotter shield. Now, I know this is a hard shield to come by, so if you're on PC, this is a save file. I will be adding a corrosive and a fire one that is in my bank for the actual save file. But I recommend getting a one-shotter with any ASE element. It doesn't really matter as long as you're not stacking with something else, which we're not going to be, because our Hunter Seeker that recently got buffed as well will apply terror to ourselves on action skill end, so we're always going to have our terror bonus. Don't need to worry about that. As for our Relic, we do have the Pearl of Knowledge, because even though we're using a shotgun and a pistol, they're both still very beneficial with the Pearl. And we have magazine size and reload speed. Fire rate's going to be pretty useless for either of these weapons because it's Jacob's. And of course, the magazine and reload is going to be perfect for both of these weapons. As for our class mod, we do have a stack bot. Now, the stack bot, I do have Jacob's weapon damage, shotgun damage, and action skill cooldown rate. And now for your alternative class mod, you can have a bounty hunter, which I'll have in the save file as well. The bounty hunter is great for a bunch of mob clearing, and I believe it's good for certain bosses, but your stack bot is going to be what you're running most of the time. And as for the skill tree for this build, I will pop it on screen right now. As you can see in the soccer skill tree, we went all the way down to get our power inside capstone, so we get that 50% bonus damage when we're at max health. And of course, we have 6 out of 3 into the Fast and the Furious, giving us 50% more gun damage, 20% more movement speed, and 60% extra pet damage. We do have Lick the Wounds as well. We didn't spec into any fire rate perks because this is Jacob's. We went about halfway into the blue tree so we can get our max stacks of Frenzy along with He Bites, and we could still rock that Great Horn Skag for the extra damage benefits. The Great Horn Skag at the end of the day has the most damage buffs out of any of the pets. Now, if you look over into our Hunter skill tree, we also went down into Megavore so we can get the maximum amount of crit damage. We didn't go into Two Fang because it's kind of useless for this build. We put a lot of points into Second Intention for the bonus reload. Faster reload with this build equals more damage. And we only put 2 points in a Hunter's Eye to get further into the tree. We have those 2 extra points from our class mod, giving us even more damage for less points. And now another thing I wanted to talk about is for your action skill. I like to run Fadeaway along with Until You Are Dead for the bonus health regeneration and movement speed after Fadeaway ends, and along with Unblinking Eye, so we get the bonus critical hit per hit. But a lot of people are going to want to run Unblinking Eye along with Not My Circus. But if you're going to do this, over into the blue tree, take 1 point out of Frenzy and put 1 point into Who Rescued Who, just so your pet isn't dying every 2 seconds. If you want to do that, that's completely up to you, but with my personal setup and the way I like to run this build, I like to do Until You Are Dead because you get more health regeneration and movement speed, and more movement speed at the end of the day also equals more survivability in my opinion. As for our Guardian rank, my Guardian rank is disabled, just like all my builds on this channel. I never like to run Guardian rank. It's just not my thing, to be honest with you. No perks, no bonus stats, all vanilla gameplay and testing. Over to our Mayhem modifiers, of course we are on Mayhem 10 along with Speed Demon for the movement speed, Healy Avenger because it's neutral, Ticked Off because we are not using elemental status effect damage in this build, and Postmortem because it's the only very hard modifier that I could stand playing with. Now, like I said before, as for the gear, it is fairly simple. The hardest thing for you to get here is the one-shotter shield, in my opinion. Everything else, very easy to get, especially the Pearl. You don't need a level 65 Pearl. If you still have your cool level 60 Pearl back from when you first did the DLC, and it has reload speed and magazine size, go ahead and grab that. But magazine size is most important because our Hellwalker will go up to 3 magazine, which makes it so we can shoot twice before reloading. That's before we get any of our Megavore Leave No Trace benefits. Okay. And for the people that want this in the save files, I am going to include a back burner with ASC 200 splash because we are lacking a little bit of corrosive damage with this build, and this will take care of any corrosive content. I wasn't going to add this in the build originally, but I just made up my mind. It sounds dumb to not add in a guaranteed second wind weapon, so I'm going to add that into the build as well. You can get this rocket launcher from Agonizer. And now, of course, we have our Hellwalker and our Maggie, but that is really the basic setup. The gear requirements are not that bad. So let's go into something like Athenas, as always, and see what we can do. Pop into Fadeaway, get our Power Inside benefit. I do have the Bloody Harvest event on right now, so that might... It won't really impact what we're doing, but it will be a little annoying. Now, we all know, we're all aware that the Hellwalker is an amazing shotgun. This thing puts in work. And another great thing, since we have the Terrified Annoyance on our weapons, we're not going to get that terror negative debuff just because we have that annoy on our guns. And remember, we do have the annoyments to where we're getting more critical hit damage the more terror we have. So the more afraid we are, the more damage we're going to be putting out. We are getting an insane amount of crit damage here. I don't even have ASCs on my Maggie right now, and I am still melting these enemies, which is ridiculous. Even Death, he doesn't stand a chance. No ASCs whatsoever. But a lot of people are going to ask, what sets this build apart from your classic Sheriff Jacobs build? Well, I have yet to see any builds on YouTube that feature this anointments in terms of the critical hit damage. It's a very beneficial thing on Flak, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on this anointment in general because of how powerful it is. I mean, you're getting a bonus 100% crit on top of our class mod crit, which is 58%, and we're getting insane Jacobs damage. You could really use any Jacobs gun. If you want to throw in a Skull Masher with this build, go right ahead. It will perform pretty dang amazingly with the Skull Masher in this build. Since we are using 3-shot fadeaway, we have all these Jacobs buffs. It would be a monster. I can't really farm up every single gun in the game, or I would probably have it in here. So let's go into fadeaway, go to El Chupacabra. Can we get a good clip on him? And heck yeah, nice. I like seeing the Maggie putting in some work. Now, another thing I like to point out is with our one-shotter shield, we do have a multi-pellet pistol, which is the Maggie, so we're actually getting the full benefit of the one-shotter shield, which is nice. But if you guys cannot farm the one-shotter shield, or you just never got a one-shotter shield because you're out there, I know people never got one before, I would recommend just going with something like an Old God, because the Old God will still provide you a lot of damage at the expense of course, you're not going to get that amp damage, but you're still going to get 70% elemental damage every time we leave fadeaway, which is a great secondary option for this build. But yes, guys, that is the basic rundown of my Flak Doom build. This is my version of the Flak Doom build. This is how I would run it, and this is how I do run it. This is just my preferred way of playing with Flak's Doom shotgun. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this build. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe if you're new and you want to join the Flak Pack, and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future of my Flak build videos. I have one more Flak build video coming out. I believe it's going to be my Terror Flak build, which will be out pretty... I don't know if I want to do that for Halloween or save it until then and put another build, but I don't know. I'll figure it out. PC save files in the description below, as long as my Discord. If you want to become a channel member, it's also down there as well. I hope you guys have a terrific day. And me and Doomskag over here will see you guys later.